Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. How you
Great.
doing? I just got in from a night out, so
Oh, that's fine.
been a bit busy. I've been a bit busy. Yeah, I just got in from a busy night out, so I'm sorry I'm a little bit out of
Don't
my
worry about it.
headpiece on. Um, so great.
Hey there.
So you're like in the new world, is that right?
Yes, I am. I'm here in the States, in Los Angeles.
States. Okay, so you're in like in Spanish territories.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. I understand they found large quantities of area.
I
Is
don't.
that right? The Spaniards?
I I suppose so. And then that I guess that supposedly sparked some kind of gold rush here from the Midwest and the East. Not sure how well that panned out, but that's the rumor.
Yeah. Our privateers often encounter the Spanish ships at sea and take their gold,
Hmm.
which is a good thing, I think. Anyway, so as I understand it, so
Yes,
Calvin,
that's
is that
correct.
right? You you feel the undead do not deserve human rights. Am I right?
Well, I'd like to hear your case first, and then we can go from there.
Well, because, well, like even the undead are like humans. No, wait, they're not. Obviously, of course, they're not. Obviously, not humans, but they're like creatures, and it's hard. I mean, it's life ain't easy. Okay, I mean, like it's discrimination. The undead. They, I'm sure they'd like to have a nice green salad with some fried potatoes or something, but can't help that they can only eat blood, drink blood, whatever. So it's not their fault, is it? Not really, not their fault. There's lots of things they can't help it. So they just deserve some respect and humanity. And come on, I mean, we treat we're good dogs and cats, aren't we? So why not the undead?
So, who are the undead in your definition?
We are. I mean, they are. They are people who well, traditionally they can't rest, so they're like people who have been executed, who are not given a proper Christian burial and all that sort of thing. So their souls wander the earth,
So,
and they become vampires and zombies.
so you're saying,
And you, a lot of the world are zombies anyway,
so
aren't they?
you're
Really?
saying, so the people that were, so the creatures that we're considering undead for the purposes of this debate are vampires and zombies, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And you're
Yep.
and
Yep.
you're saying that they deserve the same level of human rights that we have. Okay.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
now,
Absolutely.
so just because I've never met a zombie before, I've never met a vampire. What are like the ideologies or the beliefs or like what do they eat? Like how do these creatures sustain themselves? Because that's integral
Well,
to me to determine whether or not they deserve human rights, right?
I mean, do you not eat the flesh of animals?
Oh, well, yes, of course we do.
You
Absolutely. I love me a
vampires,
good
and
burger.
they
Yeah.
they don't. Yep, the burger. What, this is processed meat product? Is it? I take it, or
Okay.
I don't get out
So
much, so
zombies eat
Um,
human brains, I'm guessing, and vampires sustain themselves on human blood, right? Okay.
but it's, yeah, blood
So
mainly.
let's
Yeah,
so let's
yeah. But I
sure.
mean, if you eat meat,
Oh,
there
there
such a
is big time,
difference?
at least to me. So let's say this. I don't really care about like morality. Let's not let's not make this a matter of like it's moral because I eat animals so they can eat me and they should have the same level of human rights. So for me, if we're gonna for the context of this debate, my argument would be primarily that might makes right. Natural justice determines who gets to have rights. So, for example, if lions or killer whales, or even mosquitoes for that matter, if they ever grew a cerebral cortex and some opposable thumbs, and they created a civilization that had a social contract and all the other fun stuff we had, and they somehow took us over, we would be subject to whatever the hell they wanted. But here's the thing: zombies, weak sauce. You pop them in the head and they're gone. They're brainless. They're not very smart. They're unintelligent, unenlightened creatures with no civilization of their own. We pop them constantly. They're mostly like the cockroaches of the undead world. Vampires, well, they're cowards, right? They don't come out in the sun. They just kind of keep to themselves. We have no idea where they live, what their civilization is like, what their structure is like. My argument would be if you want rights and if you want to be able to eat the apex predator on earth, which is us, human beings, you need to come out and fight us for it. But they haven't, and if they have, they've lost. So no, they don't get rights. Just like we don't give the like cows have certain rights. Like we try not to put them in concentrated animal feeding operations because we don't want them to suffer. But if they do, meh. So my argument would be, as the apex predator, we created these rights. We have full and unalienable access to them, and the undead don't. That's my case.
So, so you're saying that vampires are cowards.
I'm saying they're not the apex predator on Earth.
So
they don't have a civilization. They didn't create rights.
Okay, the thing about that's what you think. That's what you think. You said that like might is right. Might is right. Okay, so you live in a republic. Okay, now a republic. The whole thing about a republic is not, mob rule. It's not the idea that a majority can vote for the oppression of a minority. In a republic, everyone has rights under the Constitution.
No, they don't.
Have, the right to a fair trial.
Not really.
What?
No, they don't. That's
Don't
not
they?
true. That's a fantasy of. No, absolutely not.
What about habeas corpus?
No.
All that thing.
That's a fantasy of. It's a fantasy of
again?
classical liberalism that everyone has rights under the Constitution. So, like, if we want to do, okay, you're from Britain, I'm guessing, and so the whole concept of like liberal democracy goes all the way back to when Oliver Cromwell in Parliament overthrew King Charles. When they did that, there was a bunch of John Locke and John Stuart Mill were throwing around a bunch of ideas that like, hey, we can have all this freedom and this and that. Except the way liberalism, classical liberalism, as it ended up in the Constitution of the United States, didn't at all protect all people. Not all people deserve rights. That's just not true. It's a fantasy. Because if that was true, if everyone deserved a fair trial, the African Americans wouldn't get pulled over, shot, and killed at 3 times the rate that white people do in this country. They didn't deserve a fair trial. The people that wrote those fancy words in the Constitution wouldn't have owned slaves. So what they really mean is who those in power select to have rights are the ones that get rights. Not everyone. That's just not true.
Okay. No, the habeas corpus thing actually goes back to King John, which is the Magna Carta, which is 1215. The other thing, so that's 400 years before Cromwell and all that thing. Anyway, I mean, come on, let's just be human about this.
Okay.
I mean, or whatever about. I mean, surely you look. Count Dracula, okay, he was a brave man, very brave man. What a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, Dracula actually served a very good purpose. His castle on the in Transylvania, the Borga Pass, isn't it? That's where his mountain is located.
In
his
Romania,
job was to Transylvania in those days. His job was to actually guard the mountain passes from invasion by the Turks.
That's true.
So, you know, he good job. I mean, he did. I mean, he defeated many, kept the, you know, the Turkish hordes at bay. Not that Turkish people aren't nice. I mean, I've actually just been out tonight to a Turkish restaurant, and some very nice Turkish people there. Maybe very welcome, good food. So nothing against Turkish people, no problem at all. You know, I'm just saying that, you know, like all that time.
Do you think that Vlad Tepes didn't have access to human rights? Vlad Tepes was a prince. He was the most powerful person in Romania at the time. He had plenty of human rights. That doesn't mean that all vampires should have human rights.
Yeah, but he was human then. No, hang on. Was he?
Because he had plenty of power. He was considered the prince, or yes, he was absolutely the prince. He was the prince of Wallachia. He was the prince of the nation. He had plenty of power. He had plenty of access to human rights. So that's not unique. He already had human rights. But we're arguing about the undead as a whole. You're giving one example. It's like if I was to say Lassie was a good dog, so every dog should have access to my house. I don't think that's true. So I don't think the undead deserve human rights for the things they say. And you haven't really countered any of the we're the apex predators, they should come get it, might makes right, natural justice. If they want it, they should come get it. But where are they? Right? I mean, maybe they have their own set of rights.
Well, we're trying. I mean, they're trying. Not me, obviously, because I'm not undead, obviously. But obviously, you know, they, obviously. But look, if dogs get treated nicely and all that, I mean, come on. Look, you've seen. I mean, Interview with the Vampire, Tom Cruise. Who's the other?
I have.
Nice guys. You know,
guys. Not vampires though.
You know, like I know the kind of guys that you'd like to sort of have to dinner. I mean, like they could talk about all the stuff over the histories. You could say, you know, Tom Cruise
is a Scientologist. I don't really want to hear.
Tell me, what were you up to in 17? What? Wouldn't it be great? You know. What were you doing in 1625 that year? That was a good year. Tell me all about that. That'd be great. They'd be great dinner companions, wouldn't they?
Great granddaddy's eye, I think, in 1620.
I don't think you're going to use. I don't think you.
I don't know. It seems like
most people, you know, they've seen Twilight. They've seen how handsome most undead people are, you know, and they love it. They love it. So I just think it's like, you know, I'm pushing an open door.
They don't deserve what we have. Haven't you seen Blade? What? Do you think that Wesley Snipes gave them the rights that we have? The only right he gave them was a silver stake to the heart. Have you seen Van Helsing? Yep. They don't deserve rights. F them. Have you seen The Walking Dead? They pop them in the head constantly. Van Helsing. One of our rights is to not be killed. It's literally our job to kill zombies and vampires. If they wanted those rights, they should come take them.
Show me any lady that you may know or may not even know, okay, and say, would you fancy a night out with as portrayed in the film
Van Helsing was human.
Okay? I can guarantee you any woman you meet would be like, oh yeah, please.
I go out with Hugh Jackman too, but he's a human.
I win hands down. Come on, we all know that it's mainstream. It's like saying, like, you get a nice cuddly cat and you say, you know, this cat should sleep outside, or this lovely little dog sleep outside. No, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. It's the furry animal syndrome. Look at it. We're lovely. I mean, they're lovely. They're
this is
lovely.
my favorite debate that
Yeah,
I've ever had.
that's it. I think I'm.
Well, do you have any? Do you have any other? Of
So it's
course, no,
totally
obviously.
serious,
Do you
completely
have any
serious.
other
This, but
thoughts?
this
Do you think maybe do you have any contest to my argument about apex predators? Do you think maybe if they wanted rights, they should come get them? Because I feel like one of the main human rights is you have the right not
apex
to be
what?
murdered by another human being. We murder vampires and zombies for funsies, for target practice. Do you think they deserve the right not to be killed?
Well, that should
Why?
stop. That should stop
Why?
right now.
Why?
That should stop right
What's the
now.
reason? This is a debate
Be-
website. What's
because
the warrant for your argument? What's the reason? I think we should kill all of them. They're mean and ugly. Not vampires. Vampires are cute, but they're mean. What's the reason? What's your warrant? Why should we keep them alive? It's kill or be killed.
look, it's okay. Well, it keeps it. There's a good film industry.
So
It keeps the film industry going. It gives people pleasure.
We don't need them, especially for vampires. They can't even shoot scenes in the sunlight. They're a pain in the ass to work with. And then when they get hungry, you can't just get a caterer. They have to eat the director. That's no fun.
Do you know, Calvin? I just get the feeling you just don't like the undead. The feeling you just don't like. You just anti undead. I think, is there a word for it? Is it
undeadism?
Like, you know, like homophobic?
It's
is it like
necrophobia, maybe
necrophobic or something? Necrophobia. I mean, what about little people?
Oh, they're human beings.
What about
fine.
people who just like aren't
I love all human
normal
beings, but undead.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I hate to admit it. I never wanted to be a bigot in my life. I really didn't, but I gotta say, I am an undeadist. I think they should die. I'm sorry, Bookman.
Yeah. Well, I think, if I may say so, I think
I'm very sorry.
Johnny
I'm telling the truth. What do you want me to not be honest? I'm telling my honest opinion. That's all I can do, and I'm trying to make good arguments.
I just want you for a moment just to consider the anguish. Now, let's think about, where vampires came from. The whole thing about vampires. Okay, right. Over here in England, where I live, which is obviously a very old part, I live in a village, okay? Now, on the village, there is the main road, and you've old road. It's where you always get like crossroads in villages, okay? You never see old houses in those parts of the villages. And the reason you never see old houses in those parts is because
that's pleasant.
Hang people.
Okay.
So they would hang them at the crossroad. And the idea was that because they were hanged, they weren't given one of those, Christian burial things that they So the souls of the dead would wander up and down the road, and they wouldn't know where to go, so they'd get confused, so they wouldn't bother people. And that's why they became the undead, because they were forever wandering. I mean, don't you think that's bloody lonely? Think about it.
They don't have to be lonely to have human.
What a life. Well, I mean, not a life, obviously, but what an
life. Companions. They can have companions.
Have some compassion.
I have compassion. I just don't think they deserve human rights. I don't. I'm sorry. We have to agree to disagree.
Well, anyway,
it was.
I do, and I think everyone else does. I think that's people are just going to agree with me because, as I say, your arguments are just. What were you saying? The apex what?
That we deserve the rights that we get because we created them.
What's that? No, people aren't going to understand that. They're going to see me. They're going to think about.
That's true.
Johnny Depp, didn't he do a vampire once? Or somebody like him, whatever, or Brad Pitt, or I don't know those actors in Twilight.
I think Robert Pattinson, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't get it. They're just going to go. Yeah, human rights for the undead. That's what they're going to do, and they're going to vote. They're going to vote for me. So
I think I'm just going to.
I just think you may as well.
Right. It was great debating with you. Thank you very much. Have a good one, bud.
Well, you too. Okay. You take care. Good night. Good night.